Hello. It is I. Welcome to the IGDA TC first meeting of 2024. If you don't know me, I'm David. Welcome. We're going to go through our slides now, which I'm going to have to just read everything. Intro. That's this. Community plugs, announcements. Does anyone have a plug? Did we get any? Oh, okay. No, that makes sense. They're bullet points. Yep. Okay, yeah. IGNIS TC meetings are open to everyone. We aim to be a safe and inclusive place. So if you have any complaints or you see anything that you think shouldn't be happening, let us know. There's lots of board members present tonight, so you have no shortage of people to complain to. Is there anything else I should mention, Peter? Speaking of the board members, here they are. This IGNIS TC, we're all volunteer. These are all volunteer people. None of them get paid to do any of this, which is crazy. I'm on there, which you can see. I've got the same profile here in the camera. Okay, yep. And we have other volunteers too, although I don't know how many. Yes, there are more volunteers. Here they are. Because you didn't ask to be. Yeah, we've got lots of people. We've got lots of people that volunteer that help doing all kinds of things. If you think you would like to be one of those people, let us know what you'd like to do, because there's lots of opportunities. We're a part of the IGDA, the International Game Developers Association. So, you can actually sign up and give them money, and if you tell them that we're your home chapter, we can actually get some benefits from that. So please do that, because it does help. Yeah, I see that look. Whatever. Okay, so we've got lots of meetings, way too many if you ask me. And if you ask anyone who runs IGDA groups, they all think that we're absolutely out of our mind. But this is the Gamedev meeting, which is the second Wednesday of the month. We've also got the Devs Play Games, and we've also got the Twin Cities Play Test, which are different things. They're totally separate. Would you like to talk at all about that? You want to invite people to come to it? No? Okay. We've also got women in games and the POC get together. So if you're interested in those, check those out. Yep, that's all I got to say about that. I don't know. VR and HCI. Oh, we didn't talk about VR and HCI. That's I am most often at the VR and HCI meetup, so that's why you may not see me at these ones quite as often. Yeah, this month we're talking about, of course, the Apple Vision Pro. Sorry, what? You said? Okay. Carl's doing something cool. I can't quite hear what it is. Yeah, okay. If you haven't gotten onto the Discord server, do that, because that's where I think that might be where the most action is now, officially. And that's where we do all of our official communications. So if you're looking for official communication from us, it's usually there first. Yeah. Okay. Now. Yeah. Do you want me to do? I'll do your slide. Don't worry. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, so it might have been a while since you've seen me. So in that interim, I've been working on my own consulting business. So, thank you. who am I? I'm Beth Korth. It's up on the screen. And so you might remember my work on Verdant Skies, the game we launched in 2016, 2018. So basically, the consulting services that I offer, I am working with some nonprofits to help them with their storytelling and testimonials and stuff, but my real passion is helping indie developers. So I would like to help you with your narrative design, any writing, dialogues, if you want some help with like environmental storytelling. I also do accountability check-ins, if anyone needs help with that. Event support, so like if you want to demo your game and stuff, I'll help you figure out where to do that. And then the testimonials and data collection, it would be, I guess, maybe play tests, kind of like that for you. Any questions? Yeah, Narrative Nuance is the name of my company. That's my tagline, grow your story. It's got a tree. All right. That was my plug.
Awesome.
If anyone has anything unplanned, now's the time. Otherwise, I've got news. Okay. All right, board elections. We talked about this last month. We opened up nominations for new board members. There are 7 current board members. 3 seats are open currently. And we accept the nominations through the month. And now voting is going to begin. And so we did the nominations through a Google form. If you'd like to make a nomination for the board, you can do that during this meeting. It doesn't close till the end of the meeting. You can't nominate yourself, but you can nominate a pal, and you could beg a pal to nominate you. That kind of politicking is allowed. You got to prove you have one friend in this community. That's all you need. So if you'd like to serve on the board and you want to learn more about it, I went through all this last month, but you can come find me and ask me questions throughout the rest of the meeting, and we can get you added if someone nominates you or you want to nominate somebody else. But right now, the election is open. I'll update that list if new nominees come in. And you can find that at igdatc.org/governance. Peter, do you want to click that and kind of walk people through that so you can kind of see what we're doing there? So you'll see the election links. The one at the bottom there is the ballot. And basically, we have this fun formula, which is depending on how many candidates and how many open seats. What this means is everyone gets 2 votes. So if you scroll to the bottom of the page there, you'll see that these are our current nominees. We have 2 incumbents running and 1 new nominee running as well. You can vote for 2 out of the 3 of them. Everyone gets those 2 votes. And voting will be open for the rest of the month. And that's the whole shtick. I think I didn't leave anything out. We ask for your Discord username so we can verify that you're part of the community, but only Beth and I will have access to this form, so it's a secret ballot. If you would like it to be secret from even the 2 of us, at the next meeting, when we count the votes, you can come to us, verify your identity, we'll check that you didn't use the form already, and we'll give you a post-it or a paper ballot, and you can vote that way if for some reason you really want to keep it super duper secret. Question? How do you mean? It does not know. I need to add somebody. So if you did that, I will add that before the end of the meeting. At the end of the meeting is when nominations close. If I haven't added someone by that, then it's just my mistake and I'll get to it the next day or so. You can vote because you can go back and change your vote because you have to be logged into Google to use the form. So it's about as robust as we can make it without going totally overboard, and it's so that this process is, relatively secure and trustworthy. Now, the goal is all this effort will be for nothing. That's the goal. That it's just everyone who wants a seat gets one, and we move on and we go on. That's the goal. That's the great outcome. But we have this system here in case future elections, blah, blah, blah. You heard me speak about all this last month. But again, this nomination form is available if you want to do it. You can also just talk to me or any of the other board members, and we'll do that tonight. But like I said, voting is open for the next month. We'll do in-person voting at the next meeting, and then that's when the new board will be announced. So very cool. I do also want to say thanks to Peter, who's running the board right now. Peter is stepping down from the board. He's not running for re-election. So one, that leaves an open slot, which is nice, but also it means we're not going to have Peter at our meetings anymore because he's just too damn busy these days. He's still, we're just demoting him to volunteer and board emeritus. So you're not seeing the end of him for sure.
It's all the same responsibility.
Pretty much. You just don't get to pretty much. Everyone let's clap for Peter. Yeah. That's the official position of the chapter. Hooray for Peter. All right, that's all. Questions bug me during the meeting. Next slide. Oh, Diff, we got t-shirts, yo. Now, this is to fulfill one of Peter's long-term goals with the organization, is that we have merch to sell. Peter, go back. There's a little link at the bottom there that the DNS needs to update for that, merch.igdatc.org. I'll share the full Amazon link in the Discord if you just cannot wait to buy a shirt. All the different variants of our logo, a bunch of different colors. I wanted to make a lot of options when I set this up so that everyone can find something that works for them. We can get a lot of different people out of different shirts, because if we're all wearing the same shirt, we're going to look like a cult. And there's pluses to that, but I don't think that's our jam. So I also priced them pretty high so that our organization will get a good royalty. So think of this not just as a cool way to get a cool t-shirt, but it's a way to donate some money to the organization. We get about $15 per purchase, so it's not very high. It's not a great fundraising tool, but it's something. And if you're wanting a way to sort of support the organization, and there just hasn't been a lot of infrastructure for that in the history of our organization, this is a fun new way to do it. And I'm wearing one of those shirts that we did for Nice Games Club. As far as print on demand goes, the Amazon one is a really good quality. Just got to kind of, stomach your hatred for Amazon as a retailer. Right. So there it is. I'll put the link in the Discord, and then in the next day or so, the merch.iggatc.org link will take you directly to the IGGATC category for it. Yep. Lots of pink options I made sure of. Some purple ones so that Beth will buy one. And that's the whole deal. I think that's everything. I think we have some dark grays. Yeah, if you really need something that fits your vibe and we don't have it, ask me and I could probably add it to it. I was sort of selective but kind of not selective, but I also didn't pick everything on the list. So if there's something on there, a color you want, we can add it. All right, that's all the announcements. I think we're ready to move on to the next bit. Back to you.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, and thank you, Mark, for pushing forward on all that governance stuff. You guys probably don't know that because you aren't sitting in the board meetings, but Mark has really done a ton of work putting together all the rules and all the things that need to be in place to make stuff like that happen, and it's not easy, so I appreciate it. Thank you, Mark. Okay. Anything else? We're on the anything else slide. This is the slide where we talk about anything else. If you have anything else you'd like to talk about right now in front of this crowd or our YouTube audience, our burgeoning YouTube audience. Yeah. Okay. With that, this is the meeting where we are going to. Stop! Not intermission yet. So if you didn't read the description or anything when you got your ticket on Eventbrite, this is the meeting where we talk about games that were built at the Global Game Jam 2024. So if you had a game that you built that you want to talk about, let's line up and get her done. I don't know if do we have any volunteers to go first? Josh. Go get set up.
All right, I just joined the event stage, right? All right, I think I'm muted indefinitely. That should take care of that. All right, I am sharing on the Discord, so
Stand? We don't have a stand, though. I'm so sorry. That's lame. mic stand. So.
All right. I'm Josh Anthony, and I was part of Global Game Jam, and the game that I worked on was Wally's Wacky Walk, so this is a post-mortem for that. I designed the content for 10 to 15 minutes. We'll see how well I can time box myself, but if we're all ready, here we go. So I was part of Team Godot for it, which consisted of myself, Dan, and Arthur. We played multiple roles. Mine focused on programming and project management. Dan did coding and art, and Arthur did art and sound effects and music. There's a lot more than just those few categories, but that was broadly what we were focused on. So, what is the game? It is a game that is an auto-scroller. You know what? Actually, instead of describing it, why don't I just show you this gameplay video? Oh, awesome. The audio even works on a slideshow. All right, so the basic gameplay is 2D, side-scrolling. Okay, sorry, not side-scrolling, auto-scrolling. You can control how fast you're moving, but you can't stop. There's all kinds of obstacles that you have to find ways to deal with or work around, and you get objects that you can throw with varying effects that happen when you throw them or when you walk on them. Basically, the theme for Global Game Jam this year was Make Me Laugh, and we decided to go with the physics makes me laugh interpretation of that theme. Oh, and also, I have psychiatric issues, in case you couldn't tell. Anyway, we worked on this, put it together in about, well, obviously the jam was 48 hours. We needed pretty much all of that time. Oh, and these, sorry, I just realized I did not bring my notes with me, so forgive me if I'm scatterbrained a little bit and having to remember what it is that I was going to talk about specifically. But the gameplay speaks for itself. A lot of hijinks, a lot of randomness, basically the kinds of things that end up being really silly, really stupid, and really funny. All right. On that note, I'll continue maybe if Google Slides wants to actually work instead of, there we go. All right, so I'll open with a brief timeline of how the jam went for our team, accompanied with a various collage of images that were taken from periodic screenshots of my computer during the jam that I definitely did not throw together an hour before coming here for the presentation. So on Friday, we focused exclusively on planning what we wanted to make. Now, this being a game jam, this was the first time that I put in this kind of effort beforehand, but this was actually something I practiced with a game that I made in preparation for Global Game Jam, where I did all the planning for what I was planning to put in the game up front, and then work specifically off of the game design document. So I wanted to try this process here and see how much it could help with actually keeping things on track and being able to deliver the game in the amount of time that we had. So these various images showcase Miro, which is what we use to rough out our game ideas and throw together a MVP document, or rather a MVP collection of sticky notes, because we didn't really want to put too much structure on it. We just threw down sticky notes, and that's what we wound up continuing to do as we added additional notation. I think overall this was successful, but I'll get into more details about that later. At the end of Friday, we went home, and on Saturday was when we started the game development proper. So Dan focused on bringing the player character and the game world interactions to life. Arthur made art and I think worked on some of the music that day as well. And then I focused on making the throwable objects systems. Now, I spent about 8 hours working on those systems because I tried to do it really cleverly. Yeah, I'll have things to say about clever programming later. But anyway, at the end of the day, we were realizing that our scope was actually greater than what we were able to accomplish in the amount of time that we'd have. So we rescoped what we were going to focus on, cut a number of things that were planned, both feature-wise and content-wise, and at the end of the day, we had an idea of what we were going to try to do with our downscoped MVP. Sunday is when we came in and put pedal to the metal and ground out our final MVP. I made up for lost time by throwing together a ton of UI interface elements, as well as fixing various bugs, maybe most of which were caused by my systems implementations. And then I also took care of making sure the game exported and worked properly after exporting. And then around 7 o'clock, we uploaded our final version of the build and called it a day. All right, so now that I've gone over what happened, I wanted to share a few takeaways that I had from this process. First of all, doing game development in person was fun and helpful, and that was something that I wasn't expecting to be as strong of a factor as it was. I've always participated in game jams virtually prior to this. This is my first in-person jam, and I was surprised by how effective that it actually was, being in the same... Thank you. I don't know why I said thank you, but anyway. All right, so when we were sitting together, throwing out ideas, it was just helpful to be in the same area, able to toss things out. And then while we were doing development in the small conference room that wound up being the place where we worked, it was really easy for us to just say, hey, there's this thing that I'm working on, what do you think? Or, hey, I'm running into this problem. And the feedback was very instantaneous, and that would not have happened, I think, if we had been participating hybrid or virtually. So as someone that has been skeptical about the value of doing work in person, especially since the pandemic, I was surprised by how powerful the in-person element of the game jam was. All right, and then more planning equals more success. So, like I said, we spent all of the Friday, which was, I think, 3 or 4 hours, planning what our game was going to be, and that proved instrumental in not only accomplishing the game on time, but it also played a pivotal role when we realized we overscoped and we needed to cut things out. By knowing what we were planning to do in advance, it made it much easier to see which things we could actually take out and still come up with some sort of coherent game in the end. It also made it easy to keep track of our progress. It's a little bit, oh, actually, yeah, I did put the legend in there. We color-coded the stickies based on whether something was not done, in progress, or complete. Gave us the ability to see what was being worked on. We were also talking about it as well, but just having that visual overview was quite helpful, at least for me, focusing on the project management side. So I definitely want to take this kind of approach in future game jams, as well as find more ways to apply this kind of planning process to my own game development. Now, I did have a few things that I need to get better at and things that I want to improve, one of which being I need to stop making complex systems during a game jam. That's something that I continuously find myself wanting to do. I think, oh, there's this really cool, flexible way I could make this system. I can throw it together real quick. It'll be fine. Nah, like I said, it took me 8 hours to get a working version of the throwable object system. I tried to make it so that I could put together very configurable ways of adding different kinds of movement. It all worked, but I also could have hard-coded all of that in probably 2 or 3 hours, and nobody would have noticed the difference. And that time that I spent wound up costing me time working on other things, which ultimately, when you only have 48 hours to make a game, time is your most precious resource. So that's something that I'll adjust for going forward for future game jams. But it also makes me think about when I'm developing my own stuff and trying out new ideas, do I really need to make this thing super flexible if I don't know that it's actually going to be fun? So that's something that I'll be thinking about for my own personal game development work. Now, I know around here there's a culture of playtest everything, and I'm well aware, and I fully agree with it, and we still didn't make nearly enough time for it. Because we spent so much time putting together the MVP, that basically left us with only an hour at the end to playtest all of the things integrated as we intended. And in the process, we discovered there were a lot of things that weren't working as we expected. For one thing, the game wound up being way, way too hard. And that was something that we couldn't see as we were testing all the individual components, but once everything was put together, oh yeah, none of us could actually complete the game, which is not ideal for a game jam where these things are ephemeral anyway, and you just want people to have fun in the process while you're playing these things. There were also a number of bugs that also contributed to the game being hard, such as when the player lands on top of an object, it takes away multiple units of health instead of one like it's supposed to. Yeah, that makes things a lot harder to complete, and we didn't catch that until the very end when there wasn't really anything we could do about it. So make more time for playtesting, which in my mind means scope better so that we're finishing things up early enough that we can do that testing sooner and make those adjustments instead of doing MVP work up to the last minute. And then finally, I need to take better care of myself. I essentially spent almost every possible waking hour that I feasibly could have working on this game, and it showed. At the end of Sunday, I was very thoroughly burned out. I did not want to keep working, and I'm sure it also contributed to inefficiencies on Sunday where I wasn't working as optimally as I could have. And then after the game jam was over and I had to go back to doing my regular stuff during the week, it made it much harder for me to do all of those things as well. So I need to focus better on scoping my own time so that I'm not spending every waking hour on it. It may seem like I'm taking less time to work on my game, but I think in the long run, the quality that comes from taking better care of myself will pay dividends, which is something I've seen in previous game jams where I made that a focal point, so that's something that I need to get back to doing a better job of. All right, so here's the conclusion. I don't know what that word is at the bottom. Sorry, the dog must have gotten to me. Anyway, I had fun with working with Dan and Arthur. They were great pals, and we jived really well together making this game. Global Game Jam was a ton of fun for me. Funky physics are funny, and I learned some valuable lessons along the way. Woof. Woot. And then finally, since the game is so hard, I doubt anyone that plays it is ever going to make it to the end. So just to make everyone feel comfortable, because you know it's a dog running away after all, you do find Wally the dog in the end, and you can pet him. Thank you.
Excellent. Yeah, if anyone would like to ask a question, go right ahead.
Talk really loud. Stream can't hear. Okay. Well, who cares about the stream? You enjoyed work. Why aren't they here in the snow like the rest of us? You enjoyed working with the team. You said, in person. Did you enjoy it all, or find any utility from being around other teams?
Yes. I think it was fun to just be around other people and see what they were working on. You know, it gets lonely when you're working on things in your office by yourself, which I thought, I'm generally okay with that, but there's just a different energy to it, and I undervalued that energy because I hadn't really experienced it before. So, yeah, I found value in it for sure.
Last chance.
Going, gone.
Thanks, Josh. That was great. That was maybe the most thorough game jam postmortem I've ever seen. So good work. Yeah. All right. Do we have somebody on deck? And now we welcome Scott.
So everyone will be totally surprised. I convinced someone to make another NES game, so that makes 5 for me that I've done during the Global Game Jam. It's called, oh, that right there, Slapstick NES. So I worked with Sam there. Yeah, and our basic idea was, what if it was like a Zelda boss battle, except you have to make the character laugh to show off their vulnerable spot, right? Because you always got to do a thing, and because you can't hurt the boss until you flip them over or something, and then they got the flashing spot, and you attack that as quick as you can. You mash the buttons, and then it flips back over, and then you can't hurt it again until you flip it again. So yeah, our game was what if there's like this giant disembodied like head of some sort for some reason? You have to make it laugh because like the 2 players. Oh, there's a YouTube video. If you pull that up, that maybe makes the most sense. Otherwise, that is a running NES emulator in the website right there. So that's actually the game running. But if you go back, there's the video link. So the idea is it's a 2-player game. It's sort of cooperative in that, so there's different prank items that you can use, like bananas and pies and mallets and stuff. So you're supposed to run around and prank one another, which then makes the giant, disembodied clown head laugh. So like the bomb, for instance, if you use the bomb, it explodes. If you explode near the other player, both of you explode, and then that's, twice as funny. And the banana, they'll slip on the banana, or the pie if you throw it in their face. So when we didn't explain to people how the game worked, it was kind of fun because they would both try to like run over and use the items on the clown head, and nothing would really work, and they were a little bit confused. And then one of them would eventually be able to, unfortunately the controls use the arrow keys, which sometimes browsers get very upset about. Can you do it right now? No. Anyway, so when we didn't tell people, they would eventually just figure out, like, well, what if I use this, like throw the pie at the other player, and then both of them would, like, bust a gut laughing as they're, like, trying to use all the prank items on each other. And then, they're too busy pranking each other when the clown finally smiles, and then they figure out, oh, that's what we're supposed to do. So people thought it was pretty good from that regard, but otherwise it's kind of a one-trick pony. Like it's funny once. It's got 30 seconds of gameplay. And run over the other player and press the button. Oh, yeah. Ooh. Get there, go. Yeah, so you blew them both up. So that's kind of the game. And then the second time you attack, he has less teeth because you attacked his teeth. Let's see. So Sam did like most of the graphics. I did the room graphics, and he did all the character graphics and all that sort of stuff and all the animations. And we kind of just piled through it. I made the implementation of the boss progression that happens, and he worked on a lot of the character stuff while I was doing that, and all the other attacks you can do on the other players. See, once you get to this stage, it doesn't have any more teeth, and then you attack his uvula, because it's a funny word. That's really about as far as we thought about that. It's a hammer. Or a sandwich, that makes sense, since you brought it into his mouth, and so that's basically the game. If you go back to the Global Game Jam website, scroll all the way down to the bottom, there's on the left side, there's the GitHub page. I have a fun thing hidden on there at least. Oh, no, that one. Down, that one, repository link. And if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, a visualization I like to do is take the whole game, the ROM file for it, which was 32 kilobytes, and make the tool that I use to convert to the NES graphics format that it uses. You take the ROM and you convert it back to a PNG file. So that's a 2-bit per pixel PNG file. It's, I think, 512 by 1024 pixels. That's the entire game. So a little tiny texture that the whole game fits into. Yeah, and the code for it is totally horrendous. It was a lot of, like super extra magic numbers. A lot of them are hex values because it's easier to print those out from NES stuff. And yeah, lots of ifs with case statements in them and for loops inside of those. And kind of, we were sort of hitting the critical limit of, can we keep adding features to this without like being completely baffled by what this code does right at the end. So it was like perfect timing to, make the worst code possible that's done, and we never have to look at it again after the game jam. So, yeah. And he had a pretty good time doing it. He never made an NES game or anything like that before, so that was he thought that was a great experience. He was super pumped at the end. Yeah, and that was our game. Any questions? Zach, in the front row. Ooh.
Did you use all of your 48 bytes of RAM up?
No, we used like 50 bytes of RAM. So yeah, we didn't really have much stuff to store, like the positions of the players, and I mean technically we used like the scratch pad RAM for drawing sprites and stuff. Ooh, and just as a fun aside, we do have a flash cart, or I have a flash cart rather, so we're able to run the game on an actual NES, as you can kind of see in our picture there. So, and people have totally heard this before, but I really like, it's just super amusing, because you take the tiny micro SD card that's, 4 gigabytes is a tiny SD card. It's the smallest one you could buy years ago. And you put that in the micro SD, or the regular SD card adapter. And then you put that into, the NES cartridge that you can stick it in an NES. Yeah, exactly. Another question?
Game Genie codes? Game Genie?
Oh,
codes?
almost certainly. I mean, Game Genie codes are just like ROM override values and stuff. So we'd have to look into what some good ones are, I guess. We have to reverse engineer our own game to do it. So, any other questions? Going once? Going twice?
Thank you, Scott. That's amazing. Oh, I was hoping to get to see more of this. Hello. Welcome, John.
Hi, thanks. Hello, thank you. Global Game Jam 2024 was my first ever game jam, and it was awesome to participate in, and I completed a game, so it felt great. I think I had a bit of a unique experience over other people. My setup isn't portable, so I came to the in-person meetup just to get the vibe and energy from everybody in the room, and just everybody being so excited to make games. I think that really helped push me through the weekend. So it was great to see everybody in person. I recommend, if you are not portable, just showing up to the in-person meetup in the beginning. After that, I reached out on Discord and formed a team with some people over Discord. And by the time I got back, they've already kind of decided on a topic and a style of game that we're going with, which was a mini Metroidvania. I was very concerned about scope, as I've never made a Metroidvania before in my entire life. So, it took the full 48 hours. Literally, the last half hour was like, okay, I got to make sure the file is correct on the page and follow the instructions and make sure everything's getting in. But it was that classic experience I think everybody learns at school, where you get a group project and everybody slowly starts to drop out of the group project. So right away, it's Saturday morning, it was down to just myself, and I was working hard on this Metroidvania, but I learned some great lessons. I've never shared code with anybody before, so I learned how to use GitHub, and a big worry off my shoulder is like, I now have backups for all my projects. It's so easy to do. Everybody should learn to back up their projects. And then it was also, I had some insecurities. I didn't want to reach out on Discord and be like, is any artist available to do some art? Because I felt like everybody was so involved with their team at the moment. Next year, if I go back at this and I need any help, I think I'll get over that insecurity and reach out on Discord right away. Because If I did that, it would have saved me a lot of pain. But overall, wonderful experience. I'm so glad I did this game jam. I think finishing a game or not, it's a confidence booster. You're going to learn so much. And I'm excited to participate in future game jams. So it was a great experience overall. Yeah, that's what I got. Yeah.
What was your game about?
Yes, okay, so I felt like we went in the complete opposite direction of Make Me Laugh. We heard that and we were like, can we make the most depressing clown story of all time? So it was based off of a joke that someone else in the group knew about, where someone goes to the doctor and they say they're depressed, and the doctor says, well, I have the best cure for depression. Go see the great clown Pagliacci. And the guy cries. He goes, I am that clown, no. So the point of the game is you're a depressed man and you go to the circus to try to feel better, and every piece of gear you get equips on you and you slowly look like a clown, and by the time you're at the end of the game, you are the clown, and it's sad. So it was kind of a reverse of Make Me Laugh. It was Make Me Not Cry, I guess. But it's definitely to go with like what you were talking about with scope management. What I really wanted the gear to equip on slowly, and in the last half hour, I'm like, I don't have any arts. It's not happening. So the gear did not appear, but the abilities worked, and I was proud of that.
Just real quick for everybody, if you want to see the game in action, it was part of the closing presentations, and you can watch a fun walkthrough and more explanation. It's really, really, like, it's charming as hell and very clever. Like, I'll give it my endorsement on that.
Well, thank you very much, Mark. I appreciate it. Final message, everybody should participate in a game jam. Great learning experience.
Thank you so much. That was great. Okay, do we have anyone else who wanted to jump up here? Trenton. Single file line so no one can see you. Cool. All right. You can take both of these if you want. If anyone else wants to speak.
Wait, where's Andy? Isn't Andy here? Andy ran away. Where's Andy? Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. Well, make sure when he comes out that he comes up here. All right. So we were Team Tater Tot Hot Devs, and once Andy gets up here, we'll have almost everyone here. What? Okay. Lizzie is not here, but she helped. In spirit, yes. You need a mic for those funny things. Okay. Yeah. So we here's us, sort of. The back of Lee's head. This is when we were in the painful design by committee stage of the game jam. No, we had fun, but maybe it was just me that was hurting. But it was just me. Okay, cool. Yeah. So the game we made was called Ghost Guidance. I don't know who named it. Somebody named it. And the idea of the game is one player plays on like the TV or PC. And hey, Andy, come on up. Come on up. Round of applause for Andy. Yeah. And then 2 or more players connect on with their phone, and they are the ones receiving hints from the ghosts who you're trying to rescue for some reason. here is, let's see if this plays. Here's what the game looks like. Just kidding. This is the prototype. Doesn't look like that. I just wanted to show this because it's hilarious. That's programmer art right there. Now, the game actually, hold on, stop playing. Okay, sort of looks more like that. And then the phone kind of looks like that. And we're actually just going to play around real quick. Get your phones out. Just you people. Yeah, I don't know. Just to make it nice and fast here. Let's see if this works here. I don't know if audio actually comes through on this. Well, there is music. Oh yeah, I didn't mention that our very own Mark LaCroix, he did the music for us too. So, yes, thank you. Which I wish you could hear it, but you can't hear it, right? No. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna play the. Or do you want to? You want? Why don't you do it? Yeah. Hold on. Wait for people to connect, though. Yeah. So it's ZOWP. Try again. Maybe. Yeah, we got one person. Why can't you join? Oh, maybe you're not on the. You shouldn't have to be. There we go. Okay, cool. We'll just do you two.
Ready?
Yeah, where's the other mic? Oh, here. Thanks.
Are we doing 3 people or 2 people?
Oh, I guess we're doing 3.
It has to be 3.
Okay, apparently, no, it doesn't have to be.
It has to
But
be more chaos
oh, more chaos.
because there's limited chaos, so we have to add more chaos.
People
Wait, why
are.
are you making Andy do it?
Huh? Yeah. Why not? ZOWP. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
But it's cool.
All right, I think we're ready.
All right, we're ready. Oh, how are we going to do the mic with this?
I was holding up for you so you can start saying things.
Abram Ghost. He looks smug. Put him in their place. Abram. I don't know.
Abraham.
One of the
The
ghosts.
purple cauldron really stinks.
Thing. All right, I
Did we unlock one?
Scold the teddy.
extinguish.
Oh, scold the teddy.
Scold the teddy bear.
We already have 2?
Woohoo!
All right. So the ghost at the top of the screen, I'm unlocking. Oh, there we go. I figured it out. Oh, but
Reginald.
the gate's still there.
We don't like the fireplace. Turn it off.
Fireplace off.
Yeah.
That's it. All right, I got all 3 ghosts and the exit. So I
Easy
won.
peasy.
Really easy.
That was way too easy. Needs to be tuned. All right. That's the game, basically.
That's a disappointing round.
Yeah.
That's too easy.
Well, it's
All right.
random, and
Oops.
sometimes it's easy, and sometimes it's not so easy, and sometimes you have the wrong answer.
Right. There we go. Okay. All right. So I just threw a bunch of random stuff that we. So this was our. It was cool to see all the. We had 4 artists. Really, I mean, 4. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And it was cool to kind of see them come together and try to like. Well, they helped a ton with the design, and then they tried to figure out what the art style would be, and they had to do it all in, pressing fast forward, trying to do it really fast. This was their Pinterest board that they did, a bunch of different styles. I tried to do a time lapse, but I forgot to kind of configure it very well, so it's pretty awful, but I'm going to play it anyway. It's pretty flashy, so I don't know if anyone has epilepsy. I don't know how that triggers, but I'll do it. Yeah, it's pretty bad, but you can kind of see Deanna's screen is on the top right, my screen is the bottom left, and yeah, you can kind of see her. Do you want to talk about this a little bit? Oh, you got a mic.
Well, with all the art people, we thought of this great idea to do grayscale first and then add color later so we could unify it, but we didn't really get to the color unification part of it. And it was even thrown out not to do the line work yet, but me and Lee did it anyway, and we're glad we did because it wouldn't have got in there if we didn't do it from the get-go. And it was pretty fun to see everyone working on different things in their own different ways, but it was infuriating to me because I was in with Beth, Andy, and Trent on site, and Lee and Lizzie were off site, and my mic didn't work, and Lizzie had her thing muted, so...
So we could see that she was doing art, but we couldn't communicate with her at all.
Yeah.
Like she was just in her own world, and we could watch. And she was making cool stuff.
But it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, I wanted to chat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see what's next here. Yeah, so I guess that's some of... didn't actually see these.
Yeah, these logos happened at some point, and but Lizzie's a very extreme night owl, and she didn't save this in her Illustrator file that she put on the Google Drive for me. But because I have screenshot software and I had her stream up, I just ended up using a logo and then putting it in vector of the screenshot of her thing on the stream.
Yeah. So we had so much art that we totally ran out of time being able to put everything in. Some of these things made it in, but the paintings, yeah, the Lee did that are super cool that we... there's nothing worse than not being able to put cool art in the game, so it was a little sad that we ran out of time with that.
But it's good to learn that, even just the raw number of assets going into a game affects if you're actually going to get it in or not. Because even if everything took not much time to implement, it's still too many things to implement.
Yeah, exactly. So what went right? Does anyone have any you want to talk about?
We work really well together. I think there was good communication considering that our art team was split off and on site, and we finished something, so I think that went right.
Yeah.
It helped that Beth made a spreadsheet for us, and then when we told people to put stuff in the spreadsheet if you wanted it in, and all of a sudden Lee just grabbed a bunch of art on the spreadsheet and said, oh, yep, it's in the game, so that worked well.
There was one point where I just I'm like, oh, a spreadsheet, and I just sort of brainstormed a few ideas and just wrote it down, and then a little while later in the jam, those assets just magically appeared in the repo, and I'm like, oh, okay, we can use them, I guess. Yeah.
Everybody had fun and learned something new.
Definitely.
We didn't have any Git problems.
Yeah.
We had a lot of conflicts, but they were all easy, right?
Yeah.
At least I didn't have any bad ones. Maybe I made some, I don't know. It was the first time for all of us using the Unity 2D pipeline, the 2D shadow tech that they put into that, and a couple other goofy little things. But that all worked more or less fine. They didn't have soft shadows, which as a Unity soft shadow aficionado, thanks, Scott. It wasn't as cool as I thought it would be, but it worked well for atmospheric effects enough. So.
Yeah, I wish we had a little bit more time to polish that, but that's how it goes. Yeah.
Lee, would you like to talk?
Wait, so one thing.
What went right?
What did you like?
I like the best Google Sheet, so I know how to make a prop. So send to everyone to do a games. Yeah.
Yes, that was very nice to thank you, producer, / everything else that you did. What went wrong? I think so like Saturday night, things were like, it felt like we're in a pretty good place, and then I got sort of ambitious, and after Andy went home, and I ended up like, I don't know. I'm like, I'm just gonna tweak this a little bit, and then I couldn't really understand, and then I ended up like rewriting a bunch of stuff. So that's never a good idea, like to have to rewrite a bunch of stuff. So hopefully I didn't step on your toes a little too much there, Andy. He was a good sport when he came in the next day and was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a game jam game, so nobody's really cares about that kind of stuff. You expect it to kind of happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything?
It changed all of the stuff I had written before
Yes.
Saturday night. And
Right.
I had to rewrite it.
Right.
But that's okay.
Yeah, and
Because it's a game jam game.
where you had to write the text, it was an awful experience for you. So that was sad.
Well, I had one more what went wrong, which was kind of funny.
Yeah.
And that was, we didn't play test it enough, but that's because like we didn't
Yeah.
quite get it together early enough because there was a lot to go on. And I just thought it was hilarious that when we went to play the game on Trent's ultra wide, it was broken because he had never tested it on a full screen ultra wide, even though he has an ultra wide.
Yep.
So that was really funny.
Oops.
I mean, I think we had a really ambitious design topic. One of the motivations for me was to make a game where there's a lot of player interactions, so the fun of the game comes from the way that the people are interacting. So 3 people have their phones out and they're yelling instructions at 1 people, and you get some kind of a thing like that game with the bomb that everybody's supposed to keep talking and they're all having fun.
Yeah.
And having done a bunch of game jams, including bigger like month-long jams in the past, I know that the design space, like when you have a unfamiliar design space or you're attempting something really ambitious, not from the programming side of things, but from a like, hey, I don't know if the gameplay that we're describing is going to work. Like that is an unexpectedly large time sink. But I think we succeeded well for the time amount that we had, so I'm glad we went for that kind of game, because I think if we had just thrown together like, hey, let's make a game that is a copy of this other type of puzzle game, you could knock that out and it wouldn't have been such a growing experience.
Yeah, I would have loved to spend way more time on the actual gameplay and stuff, but that's a game jam. All right, what things to do next time? So I had one for this. We ended up using some tech, like the phone connection tech stuff that I had kind of been playing with before. And my mistake, I'm like, hey, we could use this, and it was cool to use that, but it also like wasn't really packaged up ready to be used in a game jam, and so that took a little bit too much time, like the first night, especially like just kind of tearing that out and putting it in the new project and all of that. So I feel like having a better list of tech that we're interested in using, and then just having those things ready. And then, yeah, I mean, do you guys have anything else?
I was going to say it was good that Andy set up the GitHub right away, but we still probably could have been a little bit more like set up beforehand, and I think that would have helped. But it's just always hard to remember, like, oh, there's this step, and if I'm not on GitHub as a user right now, and it's just adds more complexity than you realize. And someone brought it up last time, but I didn't fully appreciate it, so.
I think starting the spreadsheet earlier might also help, because then we could work on it a little bit faster too.
Yeah, especially with we had a pretty big team, like starting off that from the start would have been useful.
Oh, and also deciding what, like if not everyone can be on GitHub putting stuff in, like if we all use Dropbox, Google Drive, or OneDrive, if there's no overlap and that needs to be figured out beforehand.
Yeah. Anything else? All right, I think. Oh, the best part about a game jam
Those are pretty nice.
Yeah.
That's the background for the phone.
Yeah. The best part about being in person in a game jam is like you get to experience the moments where everyone's tired and kind of loopy, a little slap happy, like.
my phone background.
And I think it was probably Saturday night. Like Lee sent this over for the phone, and it.
It's my phone background
yeah.
pattern now.
Because Andy just like cracked up for like 20 minutes straight, and it was the greatest thing ever. But
cute
yeah,
they
just wanted to.
We're all crying like this picture right now of
Yeah.
just laughter and loopiness. And it was great.
And that's what's great about game jams is you get to experience those moments. And then my little favorite thing, like yeah, that's I think that's it.
Are there any questions from the crowd? I could walk around. I'm okay.
What technology did you use to connect the desktop to the phones?
Yeah, so the on the TV or PC, that's all Unity, and then it connects to a relay server that's currently hosted by Heroku. It's just like a pretty simple like Node.js server that uses WebSockets, and then that connects to your the browser, which I think it's just a React like kind of basic front end. And the relay is there in order to do the room code type stuff, and to do punch through and all the good networking things. Does that answer your question?
Does that mean you found a WebSocket library for C# that you actually like?
That's a good question. What did I ended up using? Yeah, I must have. I must have. What did I use?
Or did you not use WebSocket to go between desktop Unity to your relay? Did you use some other network?
No, it definitely is WebSockets. To be honest, I cannot remember what I ended up using, but I will look that up. What did I use? I think I just used straight like there is like a .NET like just basic implementation of WebSockets, just that standard, and I think that's all it is. But I can check later if you're curious.
My other comment was that your team name is the best team name I've ever heard, ever. So you should keep the crew together and release more games under that label.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was it? Oh, yeah. I
Mhm.
forgot the team name. Peter, did you
I
have
agree.
a question?
What did you use to capture the whole time lapse thing? That was the coolest thing ever.
It ended up, I think I mentioned it at the last meeting to encouraging people to set it up, and then when I looked, I could not really find one that the time lapse. Couldn't really find one that looked pretty good, and so Deanna and I use a program called Manic Time, which is just kind of it's a time tracking software that just kind of runs on your computer, and it gives you breakdowns of what you've been doing, and it also you can set it up to take screenshots, which I didn't have it configured really well, so that's why it was not the greatest time lapse ever. But
Their privacy is very good. So just
it's all local, it's not. It doesn't push your stuff
Okay,
to the
cool.
cloud or anything like that.
I think I was just maybe I want to try that next jam.
Yeah,
looks cool.
I wish I should have devoted more time because I think it's one of the coolest things people can do is having that running on everyone's computer, and so next time. Yeah, if anyone knows of good screenshot, it's just a software that needs to take a screenshot at a regular interval, let me know. Yeah. Anybody else?
Any other questions?
Cool. Well, thanks, team. It had been a while since Deanna and I had done a game jam, and it was so much fun. And I also wanted to shout out again to Mark and Dale for hosting it. If you weren't able to participate this year, I'm sure they're going to do it again next year, and it's going to be even better. So, yeah, it was a great experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Tater Tot Hot Dev. I just had to say it. All right, with that, Peter, are we at the end of our planned list? That is that. Thank you so much for coming, everybody. We'll have something happening here afterwards, but I'll say goodbye to the stream. We love you. We wish you were here. Anyone want to shout out someone who do they know is watching? Thanks for watching. Hi, Marty. Like and subscribe. Smash that like button. Well, I wanted to say that too. All right, thanks. Bye.